Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is the 10th of April, now it's half past 8 in the morning, Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update today, in which I will share with you latest updates on Ukraine and special military operation. As you know, second update will be about news in general, news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets, but first update is about Ukraine. So first news that I like to share with you is a statement that Prigozhin made yesterday. This is RIA Novosti news agency's report, and according to Prigozhin, Evgeny Prigozhin, Zelensky's regime did manage to concentrate about 200,000 soldiers to conduct counteroffensive, 200,000 military personnel. And that's a conservative estimate, according to Prigozhin, because some his sources are telling him that Zelensky's regime may have up to 400,000 military personnel ready to conduct counteroffensive. Well, today probably all the media outlets will talk about this statement. Not the media outlets, but all the channels on YouTube at least will talk about this statement probably. And to be honest, I find it hard to believe. I find it hard to believe that Zelensky's regime truly did manage to concentrate 200,000 military personnel. I would not even consider that they have 400,000 reserve force. That's just technically impossible. And as you know, Prigozhin does sometimes makes statements, and one may say those statements are part of some deception campaign, maybe. And probably we are dealing with this exactly that case with this statement, because I truly find it hard to believe that Zelensky's regime did manage to concentrate 200,000 reservists, maybe 70, 80,000. That's a possibility. In Zaporozhye region and Kherson region, they probably did manage to accumulate some 70, 80,000 soldiers, but not 200, because this number is too big. But anyway, it's better to overestimate your opponent rather than underestimate, because if you overestimate, you are more prepared for any possible scenario. So in that sense, maybe the statement from Prigozhin does makes a lot of sense, to make sure that Russian side truly are ready to deal with the possible counteroffensive of Zelensky's regime. As I said many times before, my prediction is, and not just mine, but everyone is nowadays talking about it, that Zelensky's regime will probably try to conduct counteroffensive in direction of Azov Sea and cut this land bridge between Crimea and mainland Russia. Let's continue now with the news, and we have RIA Novosti's report, again according to which Zelensky's regime may have some changes, have made some changes in plans about counteroffensive because of those leaked documents, top secret leaked documents that all the media outlets are talking about last couple of days. Yet again, even this statement, in my opinion, is a part of deception, because all that story about secret documents that was leaked, US secret documents that was leaked to internet, I find that story unbelievable and part of deception campaign from Washington, from Pentagon and CIA. And this statement, and by the way, this statement based on information that CNN did report. So it's according to CNN that Zelensky's regime had had made some changes in its plans, when it comes to counteroffensive, because of these leaked documents show some weaknesses of Ukrainian armed forces. But yet again, this is all deception, man. This is all deception. I don't think they have any changes in plans, and because those plans were made in US mainly. And a few days ago, I did share with you information that operational plan for Zelensky's counteroffensive were developed by US and UK militaries. So Zelensky's regime cannot change anything in that plan, because it's not their plan. It's Washington's plan and London's plans. So yet again, there are more and more indicators day by day that shows me, at least, that all this story about these leaked documents are fake news. It's a deception operation. And counteroffensive will be conducted by Zelensky's regime as it was planned by Washington and London. Different point is that they will be unsuccessful. I'm quite sure that once Zelensky's regime will start its counteroffensive, they will fail, and it will be a disaster, complete disaster for Zelensky's regime and armed forces that are still loyal to Zelensky and his henchmen. But yet again, Zelensky don't really have a choice in this matter, because Washington and London demand this counteroffensive to be carried out, and that's what they're gonna do. Even if even Ukrainian high-ranking generals, let's say Zaluzhny, for example, head of General of Staff of Ukrainian Armed Forces, if he even 100% sure that they will fail, they simply don't have a choice in this case, and they will do what they are told to do by Washington and London. So this information from CNN, and by the way, CNN is an asset of CIA and Pentagon, isn't it? That's how this media outlet is known worldwide. So if CNN is reporting about some changes in plans on counteroffensive, that definitely cannot be trusted, that information. And that's one more indicator that that story is cannot be trusted. Let's continue now. And this information, by the way, I forget to share this one yesterday, but it is interesting because according to Russian media, Russian side did conduct strike in Zaporozhye region on fuel depots, not just on warehouses where some military equipment and ammunition was stored, but also on fuel depots. And we have information that one of the fuel depots were hit, and 70,000 tons of fuel was deposited in that fuel depot. So we can probably say now that Russian side actively working to finish this so-called or anticipated by many counteroffensive of Zelensky's regime, even before that counteroffensive begins. And these kind of strikes are definitely indicating that Russia is well informed about plans that Zelensky's regime has, and Russia is taking some preventive measures. And this is quite serious stuff, to be honest, because 70,000 tons of fuel was lost by Zelensky's regime, and they will at least have to delay now their plans or date when they will conduct counteroffensive, because it will take some time to bring to the front line fuel storages, so that armored vehicles will have fuel to move forward. So this is very interesting news. And yesterday I did share on my Telegram channel a video also when not just a fuel depot but also some storage was hit where Zelensky's regime was trying to concentrate military vehicles, armored vehicles. And in that video you can see that some armored personnel carriers and tanks are on fire, and so Russian side is working actively to distract Zelensky's regime, and I believe they will be successful. And whenever Zelensky and his generals will start this counteroffensive, they will find out fairly soon that they made crucial mistake, because that counteroffensive will be failure, even if they will manage to start that counteroffensive. Let's continue now, and this is quite interesting news. RIA Novosti is reporting that US will deliver, or maybe even already delivered to Zelensky's regime, some bridge building equipment that are based on M60 main battle tanks. M60 tanks was on US military inventory before they create Abrams, M1A1 Abrams tanks. Probably US has quite a lot of M60 tanks in storage, and when I see this information, I think to myself that, maybe US don't want to deliver Abrams tanks to Zelensky's regime for some because Pentagon probably don't want Russia to learn about armor of those tanks or some equipment that are inside, but they can easily send to Ukraine M60 tanks. And this is old tanks. They have no chance against modern anti-tank rounds or missiles, but probably US has a lot of these tanks in storage. And let's see if I'm not mistaken, then in coming weeks or months we will probably hear information about decision of Washington to deliver to Ukraine M60 tanks. Who knows? That's a possibility, because they will have plenty of those tanks. They will have just plenty of those tanks, but yet again, it's timing. It's all about timing, because if Zelensky's regime will start its counteroffensive in next 2-3 weeks time, that counteroffensive will fail in 2 weeks time. After that, it will be clear for everyone that Zelensky's regime failed, and they have been defeated by Russian forces, and we may see when offensive operations from Russian side in very same area, in this area here, on this land bridge between Crimea and mainland Russia, and Russian forces, once they will defeat counteroffensive of Zelensky's regime, then we may see that Russian forces will start moving forward in direction of Zaporozhye, in direction of Orekhovo, in direction of Ugledar. We probably will see encirclement of Ugledar and all the cities that are on the front line right now, and the forward units of Russia in 1 month's time after failed counteroffensive of Zelensky's regime. Forward Russian units may end up in Zaporozhye city itself, because I believe Ukrainian armed forces will start to collapse after this failed counteroffensive of theirs. And yes, even if US will think to send M60 tanks, they have to do it quickly, because in 3 to 5 months time, it's gonna be too late for Zelensky and his henchmen. But yet again, information, it's interesting, because before I see this information, I didn't even think about M60 tanks. And US probably do have plenty of those tanks in storage. So let's continue now, and this is TASS News Agency. Quite interesting news because according to this information, Russian side during the special military operation did shut down more than 100 Bayraktar drones. Bayraktar drones are Turkish made drones, and these drones become quite famous during the Azerbaijan-Armenia conflict, and Turkish company that produces these drones become very busy with orders because all around the world different countries did decided to buy these drones, and but yet again this was Turkey did use this story with Bayraktar as an advertised opportunity, because when it comes to real air defense systems and professional crews of air defense systems, that's a result that you get. It's nothing special about Bayraktar. It's just, we should recognize that Armenian forces were unable for some reason to use effectively air defense systems that they had in their inventory, including Panzer systems, including Panzer S1 systems, including Tor or Buk systems, and just look at this story here, man. Russian air defense systems did work as they should, and they did take care of more than 100 Bayraktar drones without any difficulties. And that was expected, really. It was too much hype about these drones, and I was thinking to myself, for God's sake, it's just a simple drone, nothing special about it. So, and now we have confirmation that yes, when air defense systems are working properly, and when crews of those systems have proper training and they know what they are doing, Bayraktars are just piece of metal that waiting to be shut down from the sky. But it's interesting news, isn't it, that 100 Bayraktars were shut down during all this time. I did not even know that Zelensky's regime did had so many Bayraktar drones. I knew they had like few dozens of them, but it looks like they did had more than that. Let's continue now, and this is TASS News Agency. This report, according to which EU officials now are concerned and openly sharing with each other this concern that they may not be able to provide Zelensky's regime with 1 million shells that they did promise just recently. And this is quite understandable. I'm absolutely not surprised, because same EU leadership was openly saying that manufacturing capacities of EU are not unable to cope with demand from Ukraine to produce enough shells. And I don't really understand how they did come up with this number, 1 million shell. What was that? Did they even ask representatives of military industrial complex if they are capable of producing this amount of shells? Or, very strange story, but this once again shows you that decisions in EU quite often are made based on emotions, based on some political needs and ideology, not on practical terms. And this is the case that demonstrates that, because if they think about it for a second, they will realize that there is no way they can provide Zelensky's regime with 1 million shell in short amount of time. It was just too obvious. And this is gonna be a last news for this morning's update, for the first update. Today we have still TASS News Agency's report that that according to Washington Post, head of Pentagon Lloyd Austin may himself did give order to Air Force, U.S. Air Force, to stay away from Crimea, and that's why we did see reduction of U.S. activity in and around Crimea, and now when U.S. drones or military planes are flying over the Black Sea, they are keeping distance. They are staying far away, not even trying to approach Crimea or Russian borders. At least now that's case, and we have report from Washington Post that this is because after that incident when U.S. drone was went down, let's say, over the Black Sea, it was shut down by a Russian jet, as I understand. Even though Russia has plausible deniability in this case, and you know, but we all probably do believe that Russian they did help U.S. drone to hit Black Sea surface. So after that incident, it seems like Pentagon decided to be more cautious, and quite possible that the Washington Post is right, and Lloyd Austin himself did give order to Ukrainian, not Ukrainian, but to U.S. Air Force to stay away from Crimea and Russian borders in general over the Black Sea. So this is it. This is it for now. I hope you will find this update interesting, and if so, please hit the like button, leave some commentary about any topic you like, and if you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Telegram, or any other platform that you are active on. Also, if you can and if you want to, you can support my work and my channel through PayPal or by subscribing to my Patreon page. I will be very grateful for your help. This is it for now. Have a nice day and take care.